Hello.
Hello. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. So Crystal and Florian here, and we are going to mix it up today and answer a specific question from a member of our group who is a type 7, and he had a very type 7-esque question to ask us. And I wanted to do it today because Florian's leaving town to go to Vienna tomorrow morning. And so I wanted to have him here in person to help answer this question because he's a type 7 and he can really speak to it.
Let's see if I can help.
Let's see if you can help.
What is the question?
Well, let me get to it here. So this question is from Marco, and he says that he's like, I'm curious, how can I channel or control this almost excessive looking for the next thing? I feel like it is a constant battle of I always want to do and have everything now in this moment. Or if I can finally find the right course or mastermind or mentor or find my passion, then I will be happier, more balanced, wealthier, ... So I think we can all relate to that. I'll just pause there for a second. And that we're always looking for the next thing that will finally make us complete. If I just find the right thing, the right girlfriend, the right job, the money, the car, the class, the profession, then finally I'll feel happy and complete. And this need to constantly seek out the next new thing, the next new thing. It's really, really common. Here in the US, we also kind of refer to it as like FOMO, fear of missing out, that there's, what is everybody else doing? What's happening out there that must be better than what's happening here in the moment?
Right.
So we'll talk about that. And then the second part of the question was on the topic of suppressing darker emotions like anxiety, fear, guilt, shame, anger, etc. I've noticed that to some extent as well, but here I'm also not sure on how to release them in case they're hidden or suppressed or let them happen. So it's a really good question that many of us struggle with, which is, first of all, just how do we even feel those darker emotions? And then if and when we feel them, what do we do with them? Just let them out and unleash them? Bottle them up? I don't know. So we're going to answer both those questions today.
All right.
Through the context of the Enneagram and type 7 and their growth path. So the first question again is around striving for the next new thing and always having this sense that if I can just find the next thing, the next mastermind, the next class, the better job, more money, the next partner, the better job, that next thing is what's going to make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
So Florian, do you want to speak to this, your experience of it? Have you felt that way as a 7?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can definitely resonate. I can resonate with it on a professional level.
Yeah.
I mean, look at my background. I started out doing military and then molecular biology and then space and NASA and startups, and now I'm working with you and with Tilt, and I mean, there's so many different things, and everything was different and exciting in various different ways.
Right.
So you know, that jumping around is totally something that I'm also myself experiencing. I can experience it in relationships.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that especially in an intimate relationship, if somebody sort of starts to bore me.
Right.
If I get bored, I want stimulation. I need a new partner.
Yeah.
Watch out.
I know.
So, right. So it happens on all different levels.
I keep it spicy though, right?
Well,
that's why
we're not talking. Are we talking about the solutions yet? There you go. There you go.
Inappropriate on
inappropriate.
this. Terrible. So
Yep.
I like how Florian really lays it out that this like feeling of not being satiated, like I'm never satisfied in any area. It can show up. It can show up in relationships. It can show up in work. It can show up anywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. So do we want to address this now, sort of, I guess what we can do about it as 7s?
Yeah. So Marco's question is, what the heck do you do about that? Is it, isn't it fine to always be striving? I mean, isn't it like the truth that there is the end of the rainbow? And if we can just get to the end of the rainbow, there's going to be something magic there. And finally, we'll feel content. That's the fallacy. Hate to burst the bubble, but that's what I'm here to do, right? Is to pull back the covers and to say that belief that the next thing is what's going to bring the happiness, that is the thing that prevents the happiness. So first of all, I like to say happiness is not something to be contained and put into a jar that we just keep it forever. Happiness is just like any other emotion, like fear or anger or sadness. Happiness will come and go in waves. So happiness is something that's meant to be experienced, and then it passes, and then we experience it again. It's not something to hold on to. And also, this sense of contentment, I think, is really what people are seeking more than happiness. It's a sense of, I feel at peace now. I feel content with where I'm at and with what I have. In order to have that contentment, the real practice is being in the present moment. Noticing right here, right now, me, you, Florian, we're just sitting here in our home. Now, if we wanted to, we could say, oh, I just wish I could be done with this Facebook Live so I can get on to the next fun thing in the evening. I can't wait to be there. And then I'd be missing out on the joy and the pleasure of just being here with Florian, speaking to you guys, doing something that we really love. I would miss this moment because I'm somewhere lost in the future.
Yeah.
I want to hear you speak to this.
Sure. I would say one of the lessons learned, so there's, I think for 7, there's a need to be present in that moment. Right. And I think you spoke to this a little bit, and you got me to practice some mindfulness practices and tools and meditation, simple right. things like that, checking in regularly, like, how do I feel?
Yeah.
And then maybe also questioning, what is it that actually makes me drive to the next thing? What is it that does not make me feel fulfilled right now in where I am?
Right.
And I would say for me, what came out of sort of this internal exploration is that ultimately the stimulation that a 7 seeks and will always seek comes ultimately from more of that internal stimulation.
Right.
And I think that's where it was for me, where I don't necessarily need to swap out you for another woman if we can keep it more exciting on more and more growthful and deeper levels. And it's same with like work. You know, I mean, if it's dumb work and you don't enjoy it, then of course swap it out. But if it is something exciting and meaningful, then how can it deepen that?
Yeah, so what Florian's noting here is the growth path, right? The growth path for type 7 is down to 5, which means becoming much more focused. Instead of skipping on to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and being a dilettante that never goes deep on anything, you narrow the focus, you stay committed to the things that you know are important to you, you become more values driven, and then you deepen into whatever that experience may be. Sometimes that's an experience just with yourself. Like a lot of what Florian learned in the course of our, growth together is how to be mindful and present in this very moment and to just fully drop into it, to just be here now and deepen that experience. Then notice if there's a sense of discontent, I'm not fulfilled here, this is not enough. Check in and say, is that not enoughness here in me, or is it out there? What is that really about? And is seeking the next external thing really going to fill a bucket that may not have a bottom that's here? Because that's often the case that I see with 7s, is that they have a bottomless bucket in their heart and in their soul. They're trying to plug with doing lots of things, but it never sticks. So the work that needs to be done is really internal, kind of the soul searching and finding what you value and what truly brings meaning and contentment, not just happiness. Happiness is superficial, but meaning and contentment is where it really is. That's satisfying.
Yeah, I fully agree. I don't even have anything to add. In fact, I'm just looking forward to the second part of the question.
Right. Let's do the second part.
So maybe recap that one more time for us.
So the second part of the question was all around darker emotions. So type 7s tend to really avoid darker emotions. I'm not feeling any of those. I'm very happy. I'm positive and sunshiny. And what are you talking about? I don't feel anger or, So
I'll leave all of that up to you.
Yeah, I'll take care of that. No problem. So with the question that Marco had asked is, with these darker feelings, first of all, how do I even access them in the first place versus suppressing them? And then when I do access them, what the hell do I do with it? I mean, if I'm angry, should I just blow up on everybody? If I'm sad, should I go sit in the corner and cry and suck my thumb? What do we do with our emotions? So Initially, I'll say for type 7, again, a big part of their growth path is just taking the time to be present with how they're feeling. So that means slowing way down. Lots of times rushing to all the next new things is a way of avoiding our feelings, right? Like maybe we're feeling kind of anxious and a little bit afraid. I don't want to sit with that. I'm going to distract myself by going out with my friends and looking on Facebook and then seeing, oh, what can I do with my next job thing, and focus on my work. But those things that are back there, they're nagging at us, the fear, the anxiety, the sadness, those are all important messengers that are saying, hey, something's not working for me here, and maybe we need to investigate that. It's just like if you have a rock in your shoe and it's hurting your foot. It's just a signal that says, hey, take the rock out of your shoe. Right. It's not even a big deal. So step 1 in this process is just contacting those emotions without having to do anything about it. Just noticing them. Like, aha, I noticed the weather. There's the sun and there's a cloud. Aha, I notice emotion. So can you just speak to that part of it for you and what that's been like?
Absolutely. I would say 2 examples. One, the piece of anxiety, which is sort of a core feeling that the hit types are struggling with.
Right.
So as a 7, how does it come up for me? Let's say we're traveling. Yeah. And, at airports, and we're running late, and, all of those are things where subconsciously, automatically, things start to make me more anxious. And in fact, you're the one just pointing it out. Yeah. And by the simple fact of pointing it out and noticing it and being able to okay, let's take a breath. We're still good. We're good. Or if we miss the flight, we're still good, as happened with you. So that is the piece of anxiety, I would say. And then the piece of sort of dark emotion, sadness, which again is something that's so easily rationalized away. Right. And to just keep looking at the next positive thing around the corner, to really take a breath and to, connect in. One way could be to simply share it with a friend or with you, that I were to bring it up and be like, oh, this really hurt me. Yeah. I don't have to throw some tantrum and start crying like crazy and whatnot. Maybe it comes out like that, but
we'll get to that part later. Just all I want to know is, how do you even notice your emotions? Like, can you paint for Marco the picture of what it was like when you were just in regular 7 land of really not noticing the darker emotions, and what your life was like, and how you made the transition from living in that happy-go-lucky space to being a real human and feeling your emotions?
I would say the key message here is slowing down.
Slowing down.
Yeah. I would say slowing down, checking in during the day when you're in the bathroom or brushing your teeth or going to bed, different times of the day, just checking in and noticing.
I like the expression too, slowing down to go fast. So lots of times we think there's all this stuff I want to do in life. I need to hurry up before I die, right? I want to retire by this age. I need to hurry up. But the thing is that we oftentimes end up going really fast in the wrong directions. And then what? We get to this point and we're like, I don't even want to be there. That's what we call building the golden cage here in the US, where you built this life and you don't even want to be in it. So in order to prevent that, slowing down first and tapping into emotions, which are really signposts to your truest values. Emotions are telling you, this does not align for me. So if we know what our core values are, we can kind of look at that and say, oh, I'm feeling anger because that core value is not upheld. I'm feeling fear because that core value is being challenged, right? And if we are able to live by those core values and notice the circumstances around us that aren't working, we can slow down enough to then go fast in the right direction, and actually build that life we've really wanted, because it's built on honesty and integrity with ourselves. Right? Yep. So then the next part of the question is, now that you've accessed your emotions, like Florian had said, now that you feel them, maybe you're brushing your teeth or you're checking in first thing in the morning with yourself and you notice, I am pissed. This thing is making me angry. What do you do with that?
Well, as I already alluded to earlier, I would personally say the first thing is to share it. I'm not one, and to like react. I'm not very reactive. I don't know if that counts for other sevens as well. Like I'm not sort of, it just burst out of me. Doesn't matter if it's anger or anxiety or sadness. But I think accessing it first and then maybe sharing with somebody, doesn't matter, maybe with you or with a friend. I think that really helps it sort of bring it to the surface. And out of that typically comes some sort of reaction. Do I need to speak up to this, whatever it is that actually causes me to feel this way? Do I need to change something or not? I think that's, and in a relationship, maybe to point that out too, like me bringing that to you, for instance, if something hurts me or being that vulnerable is helpful for the relationship to be more open with each other.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, what Florian's noting here is he likes to share. Like that helps him. Not all sevens will feel comfortable with that. Some sevens will have a more internal process. And some sevens, like if you have an 8 wing, are going to be more reactive and want to do something about it. So what I like to help my clients with are methods centered around emotional intelligence and effective communication. And that's a much longer conversation than we can cover here. But essentially, like some of the nuts and bolts of it are learning how to self-regulate. So when we feel an emotion, there's often this sense that we have to do something about it or fix it, that it's intolerable, that if I feel anxious, that something must be wrong. I have to do something about it. God forbid I feel anxious. Not really. Emotions are like weather. They come, they peak, and they drop back down. So lots of times it's not really about doing anything. It's about telling ourselves, this emotion is not dangerous. It's not harmful. It's just rising and falling, and I can ride it out. So emotional regulation is the ability to just soothe ourselves. It's like when we're babies. Initially, we have a really hard time soothing ourselves. So our mom or our dad or a caregiver will come up and swaddle us and rock us and make us feel better. But as we age and grow up, we learn to soothe ourselves. Sometimes we suck our thumb, we might rock back and forth. With time, we develop our own techniques for moderating our emotions. And so if we have a tendency to block certain emotions and we're trying to bring them back into our life, if we can just spend the time to notice it and then just make peace with it being there, to say, hey, yeah, here's some anger, here's some fear. They can be here, and I know they'll pass with time. But there may also be instances where you sit with this emotion and you decide, nope, I really need to take action on it. It's directly in conflict with one of my values. This is something important to me, and I am ready to take it out into the world. And that means maybe first you do want to talk about it with a confidant, a friend, someone you trust, or a neutral party, a therapist, a mentor, just to get your thoughts out there and make sure that it makes sense. And then once you feel good about it, maybe you want to present it to the other person if there's another person that you need to talk to that's the offending body. And in doing that, you want to make sure that you use, again, these are methods of effective communication using I statements. I feel this way, it's me this, instead of blaming another person. So those are just some, initial tips for what to do with those emotions when they come up. Some of my clients really love journaling or just writing it down, like just getting it on paper can feel really good. Some people want to be physical, like they need to kind of move their body and move through the emotion. But I want to be careful with that one because some people can use exercise as a way to escape their emotions, which isn't helpful. So there's many different ways to notice and express your emotions, but my favorite just happens to be just sitting with them for a while and noticing that they're there. And I want to open it back up to you, Florian, to say if there's anything else you wanted to add to this last part of the conversation.
I think this has definitely been very helpful and sort of a growthful journey for me. I feel like for a 7 like myself, it's there's almost a little too much regulation or suppression. So it's almost like a way of inviting back and realizing that some of these negative emotions are just making the rainbow more colorful and just they're part of life. And that's I had to recognize that.
I really like how you said that. It reminds me of a palette of paint, that 7s are kind of the colors of the yellow and the red and maybe some green, but really we need some blue and some purple in there, get some black and get all the colors. We want the full spectrum of life because that's how we feel alive. is if we can feel all the emotions. And I can also say, you know, in our relationship, what's been really nice is that my personality type is one that is very robust, and I can handle all the emotions. So if Florian wanted to come to me and practice on me and be angry or throw a temper tantrum or be really anxious or be really sad, I can handle that and hold it, and I welcome it because I like the intensity. You know, for me, if he just stayed in happy-go-lucky 7 land and just I only got to see this spectrum of emotion, I would be bored. That's not the intensity that I want. I want intensity. So I think it was a really good combination for us to play together in that way, that he'd feel safe showing up because he can bring all of the intensity that he's feeling and know that it's welcome here. And so it's nice for other 7s if you can find somebody in your life that can accept you in all of your colors, in any mood, in any shape or size, and you feel safe going there, then that's really a beautiful thing to have in your life. It'll help you grow.
Well, I'm glad I have you in my life.
I'm glad I have you.
For all that great benefit. And
right.
We should probably wrap it up and start doing some intensive, what shall we do? Some packing for tomorrow.
We'll do some packing. So that's our Saturday night, guys. Thanks again for joining us and tuning in. And of course, if you have any questions, you can just drop us a note and we'll be happy to answer them just like we did here. And then if you want to know your personality type, you can just join our Enneagram Community Hub. It's a Facebook group, which I did not link up, but I can. And in joining that group, you can access our free personality assessment there. So until next time, we will see you all soon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Take care.